Hello guys, my name is Eryck Bry and I'm here in my home studio with Plugin Alliance. I'm super excited to show you the new Lindell Audio SBC plugin, which is based on one of the most popular bus compressor hardwares out there, which is the API 2500, but with added features. It is the snappiest compressor, and like 80 API hardware, it gives you that immediate punch and the right amount of character to your mix. It's great for your drum bus, your mix bus, even individual instruments like bass, piano, guitars, or even vocals. It just makes everything sound modern, and I'll be showing you how I use the SBC on a song I'm mixing from a China-based artist, Cheng, and produced by his partner Chase. So before we dive into it, let's give it a quick listen.
For loving, but I think I'm falling tonight, baby. And I'm waiting so long to find someone. She be looking good by my side. 当你缓缓走来，渐渐撩起裙摆，让我把手给你 dance together， 不需要开场白，你我早已明白，就这样靠近我 dance together， 明天不复存在，起舞就是现在，请用力抱紧我 dance together， 人群就是舞台，踩上我的节拍，用体温回应我 stay forever。 She don't want nobody for loving.
Alright, so let's take a quick tour of the Lindell Audio SBC plugin. So you have your standard compressor controls, you have your threshold, you have your attack knob from 0.03 milliseconds, which lets the compressor kicks in immediately, up to 30 milliseconds. Fast attack time is usually great to prevent your signal from clipping or taming unruly peaks, while a slow attack time is great to preserve and accentuate transients. Then you have your ratio from gentle compression to break-wheel limiting, and of course you have your release knob, which lets you control the amount of time your signal goes from the compressed state back to the original non-compressed signal. Next we have the link section, which is a unique feature of the API 2500. So what it basically does, it lets you set the amount of interaction between the left and right channel. So if you have it at 0, each channel left and right is working independently, which is great for enhancing stereo width. And if you have it at 100%, both channels are being compressed evenly, which retains the center dead tight. And you could enhance the interaction between the left and right furthermore by just linking either the highs, the lows, or the mids. In the bottom part of your plugin, you have the THD control for adjusting the amount of harmonic distortion for added edge, density, and saturation to your signal. Then you have this really cool feature, the nuke button, for more aggressive compression. It gives you the extra crunch, great for snare, drums in general. I use it for parallel compression or if I just need to clamp things down. Then you have the sidechain high-pass filter, the mix knob, which lets you blend in the compressed and non-compressed signal. Then next you have the tone section. The need determines how the compressor sharply engages when it reaches that threshold. You could go from soft, medium to a hard transition. Next you have the filter, which adds a low cut and a high boost EQ on sidechain signal. This is great for reducing pumping effect and can give you that really punchy tone. Then you have two styles of compressor. One is the feedback mode, which is a smooth compressor. Then you have the feed forward mode, which is a hard type of compressor. Next you have the output section, where you could disengage and engage the compressor. When it's disengaged, your signal is going through the whole circuit but without compression. Then you have bypass, which bypasses the whole plugin entirely. Then you have the gain knob, where you could choose between auto gain or can manually do it. Next you have your VO section for your incoming signal, the gain reduction, or your outgoing signal. Alright, so let's see how I use the Lindell Audio SBC on the drum tracks. First, let's listen to the kick with the plugin disengaged. And this is with the plugin engaged. So it is a sampled kick, so I'm assuming the producer or the artist already like how the kick sounds. So what I'm doing is just enhancing it by adding a little bit of character, weight, and a little bit of the punch. So what I did is I have the attack at 1 millisecond, 2-to-1 ratio. The release is really slow. Now let's see how this kick sounds with the nuke engaged. I like it. Let's blend in a little bit of that uncompressed signal. Now let's move on to the snare track. First, let's listen to the snare with the plug-in disengaged. So I have the attack about 10 milliseconds just to keep a little bit of transience of the snare. Then I have a 6-to-1 ratio and a super fast release. Now again, let's see how this snare would sound like with the nuke engaged. Let's blend in a little bit of that uncompressed signal. Now it has a little bit of that knock. It really smacks. Let's play it with a kick. Alright, moving on to the percussion track. So the percussion consists of different instruments. We have congas, shakers, and all. So I have the attack about 3 milliseconds, 6-to-1 ratio, a slightly fast release, and I actually have the link off because I wanted the left and right to work independently. Now this is the plug-in bypass. And if you notice, I had the filter out loud, so it's clamping a little bit of the high end. So if you notice, the shaker is ducked down a little bit. All right, so now let's listen to the drum track. It definitely made the drum tracks a little snappier. So next, let's play around with the drum bus. Let's back up on the ratio a little bit. Definitely gave it a little bit of that glue. All right, next let's check out the bass. Let's listen to it with the plug-in bypass. So if you notice, it has the pumping effect. So what I did there, I used the kick to trigger the compressor. You can do that by enabling the plugin's external sidechain feature. This is a great way for the kick to cut through the bass without interfering with each other. So let's listen to it with a drum track. So I used a really fast attack, about 0.1 milliseconds, a 3:1 ratio, and a quick release. Now let's see how this sounds with the nuke engaged. Oh, I like it. Man, I just want to nuke everything. Yes. Next, let's check out the piano. Let's listen to it with the plug-in bypass. So I'm using a very slow attack to preserve the transients of the piano. I have it a 6:1 ratio, a medium release. And also I have the filter engaged at medium. This helps me clamp down that sustained ringing sound of the piano. So you definitely tamed the piano and gave it a little bit of that edge. All right, so let's listen to the piano with the bass and drums. All right, next, let's move on to guitars. Let's listen to it with the plug-in bypass. All right, so let's listen to it with the rest of the track. All right, so let's move on to vocals. Let's listen to it with the SBC bypass.
She don't want nobody for loving, but I think I'm falling tonight, baby. And I'm waiting so long to find someone. She be looking good by my side. She don't want nobody for loving.
So I have the attack really slow at 30 milliseconds.
Baby,
a very small ratio, just enough to clamp down those peaks. Alright, so let's listen to the whole track with the vocals. So there it is, guys, the new Lindell Audio SBC plugin. It is such an amazing compressor, super versatile, and it gives you this nice modern tone. Kudos to Plugin Alliance for coming up with another amazing tool. You guys could try it out for 14 days for free. All you have to do is visit pluginalliance.com. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this demo. Till next time, happy mixing.